Assalamu alaikum kids. Hope that you all are doing good by the grace of Allah Almighty. I'm your English teacher. Welcome to your first English class. Well kids, imagine that you are on a journey that is undertaken by a group of people with a particular purpose, especially that of exploration or research. Well, our today's chapter and lesson is full of exploration and excitement. Let's open Unit number 1, Expeditions, Lesson number 3 on page number 4. On this page, 2 interesting expeditions are given. Let's start with expedition number 1. In the first expedition, there are 3 women who walk to the North Pole and experienced many things. Let's have a look at this. Not all children say to their mother, "Phone us from the North Pole, Mom." But Anne Daniel's 3 children said that to her just before she set off on her expedition. Anne Daniel has 3 children who said to their mom that she must call them from the North Pole. 3 months later, in June 2002, she phoned her family on a satellite phone to say, "I'm here at the North Pole." After 3 months, when she finally reached to the North Pole, she phoned her family with a satellite phone. For Anne and her co-traveler Caroline Hamilton, it was a double success. They were the first all-women team to walk to the North Pole. They had already walked to the South Pole. Anne and her co-traveler Caroline Hamilton were very happy as it was all-women team in this expedition. Their North Pole expedition was difficult. It was hard to pull their heavy sledges. The ice was not flat but bumpy, like a sheet on your bed after a sleepless night, said one explorer. It was very cold, minus 50 degrees centigrade. It was so cold that the third woman, Pom, had frostbite on her toes. They phoned the research station for help. "Please, could you send a plane for Pom?" they asked. She cannot walk any further. But Anne and Caroline walked on. After a walk of 82 days across 1200 kilometers, they reached their base in Canada again and ran home. This expedition was very difficult as it was very cold. But Anne and Caroline continued their journey and they finally reached Canada and ran home. Now let's move towards the second expedition. In this expedition, there is a man, Jim Shakespeare, who went for an expedition all alone. In March 2001, Jim Shakespeare walked up the beach in eastern Australia. He had rowed alone across the Pacific from east to west. The journey of 16,000 kilometers took him over 9 months. Jim Shakespeare started his expedition in March 2001. He was completely alone in this journey. At the last moment, big waves turned his boat upside down. Jim had to swim the last 200 meters to the beach. "Don't help me," he called to helpers on the beach. "I must do this on my own, without help." He managed to break the record for this long cross-Pacific journey. He was so brave and passionate that when he fell down into the sea, he didn't ask anyone for help. Jim had several lucky escapes. One night I was sleeping. When I woke up suddenly, I could hear an engine noise. When I looked out, I saw a huge ship coming towards me. Luckily, it missed me by a few meters. I was so shocked I couldn't sleep for a week. Here, he's sharing some of his amazing experiences. That one night, a big ship came towards his boat, but luckily it missed him by few meters. Sharks also appeared one day and circled the boat. Jim tied a knife to a stick. Then I pushed it into the side of one of the sharks. It did not like that and soon disappeared. Here he is telling one more incident that one day sharks circled his boat. But he tied a knife to a stick and pushed it into one of the sharks, and soon all the sharks disappeared. Jim joked with reporters when he arrived in Australia, "Don't come too close. I haven't had a bath for 274 days. When he reached Australia, he joked with a reporter that due to his long expedition, he was unable to take a bath for 274 days. Alright kids, now as we are done with the reading and explanation, now it's time to learn some vocabulary from our unit number 1, Expeditions. Let's move towards the first word. Compass. Navigational instrument. It shows directions north, south, east and west. A smartphone can also be used as a compass because of the magnetometer inside. Let's move towards the next word. Expedition. A journey for some specific purpose. Usually undertaken by a group of people with a particular purpose, especially that of exploration, research, or war. Let's move towards the next word. Row. Linear arrangement. A number of people or things in a more or less straight line. Let's move to the next word. Sledge. A long-handled hammer. A vehicle on runners for carrying loads or passengers over snow or ice, often pulled by animals. The next word is frostbite. Destruction of tissues by freezing. It is an injury caused by freezing of the skin. First, your skin becomes very cold and red, then numb, hard, and pale. Now it's time to learn and practice some word sentences from unit number 1, Expeditions. Let's start with the first word. Phone. The example sentence for the word phone is, the phone woke me up even though it was not very loud. Let's practice out the next word. Success. The example sentence for the word success is, we were surprised by the overall success of the product. Let's move towards the next word. Heavy. The example sentence for the word heavy is, these stones are very heavy. Now you must try to make sentences of your own. Let's move towards the next word. Beach. The example sentence for the word beach is, I have always wanted to stay in a beach house. The next word is journey. And the example sentence for the word journey is, it would be a long journey and a dangerous one. Alright kids, now as we are done with the reading, explanation, vocabulary meanings and word sentences, so now it's time to start some text exercises. The first text exercise which we are going to start is exercise number 3 on page number 5. In this exercise, 8 questions are given and you have to answer the questions and you have to copy down this work in your notebook. So let's start with question number 1. How many children does Anne have? The answer of this question is 3. Question number 2 is, how did Anne ring her family? The answer is, she rang them on a satellite phone. Next question is, how many men walked with Anne and Caroline to the North Pole? The answer is none. Question number 4 is, why did Pom get frostbite? The answer is, it was very cold, minus 50 degrees centigrade. The next question is, why couldn't Pom finish the walk? The answer is, she had frostbite on her toes. Question number 6 is, how many people completed the journey with Jim? The answer is nobody. Next question is, why did Jim wake up one night? The answer is, he heard an engine noise from a huge ship. Next question is, why do you think sharks swam round Jim's boat? The answer is, because they were hungry. Alright kids, now let's start the next text exercise, which is exercise number 2 on page number 3. In this exercise, some incomplete sentences are given and you have to complete these sentences by using the words which are given in exercise number 1 on the same page. Let's start with sentence number 1. A dash shows you where the north is. Well, do you remember which navigational instrument shows us the directions? Yes, it's compass. Number 2. If you camp in the mountains, you need a warm sleeping bag at night time. Number 3. Most campers carry a small stove for cooking meals. Number 4. A backpack holds everything that you need for a week's holiday. Number 5. A day bag holds a few things that you need for a day trip. Number 6. You use a can opener to open a can of fish. Number 7. To cut steps in the ice, mountaineers need an ice axe. Number 8. You use a sledge to pull people or goods across snow or ice. Now here we have some interesting grammar exercises from unit number 1, Expeditions. Exercise number 4 on page number 3. In this exercise, some singular words are given. First you have to make them plural and then you have to arrange these words in alphabetical order. Now what is alphabetical order? Alphabetical order is a system whereby character strings are placed in order based on the position of the characters in the conventional ordering of an alphabet, like A, B, C, and D. Now let's start doing this exercise. Now we have some words here with the same first letter, for example, address book and alarm clocks. So when the first letter is same, what do we have to do? We will check the second letter. For example, in address books and alarm clocks, the second letters are D and L. So according to the alphabetical order, D comes before L. So we write down address books first and then we write down alarm clocks. Now the third word is bus stops. Now again we have two words here with the same first and second letter, like can openers and car parks. So the first letter is same, second letter is same. Now what do we have to do? We will check the third letter, N and R. So according to the alphabetical order, N comes before R. So we write down can opener and then car parks. Then post office and then sleeping bags and swimming pools. In these two words, sleeping bags and swimming pools, we will check the second letter, like L and W. So L comes before W. So we write down sleeping bags and then swimming pools. Now here we have one more interesting grammar exercise, which is exercise number 3 on page number 6. In this exercise, some sentences are given along with some pictures and we have to see the pictures carefully and then we have to circle the correct preposition in these sentences. Now what are prepositions? A preposition is a word used to link nouns, pronouns or phrases to other words within a sentence. They act to connect the people, objects, time and location of a sentence. Prepositions are usually short words and they are normally placed directly in front of nouns. Now let's start doing this exercise. Number 1 is, I went for an expedition. Number 2. I started walking round the hill. Number 3. The wild bear was far away. Number 4. I walked across the river carefully. Number 5. A train came past later that day. Now you have to practice these prepositions and you have to copy down this work in your notebook. Now here we have the last grammar exercise from unit number 1, Expeditions. Exercise number 3 on page number 7. In this exercise, some questions are given along with some optional answers. You can use these optional answers or you can also use your own ideas to make a proper writing task. Here on the screen, a demo writing task is written. I'm going to read out these writing tasks, but you must try to make a proper writing task with your own ideas. I was traveling in the desert with my parents. I was riding camels. I was carrying lots of water with me. I was pulling a cart, then suddenly I had an accident and I broke my ankle. I went back to home by an ambulance. Now you must try to make a proper writing task of your own and write down in your notebook.